Maxwell, a Pocket FM original side story. In every empire there is a secret price of power. Sometimes that price is paid in money, sometimes it is paid in silence, and sometimes it is paid in people. Our story begins in a village that no longer exists on any map. A boy runs through the smoke of a burning home. He loses almost everything: parents, siblings, even his name. What he gains is a single promise: never again will anyone have power over me. He grows up to become Victor Maxwell, soldier, war hero, then publisher. He learns that information can move borders more easily than tanks, and that a newspaper headline can be more dangerous than a gun. From dusty warehouses of scientific journals, he builds an empire of ink. One publishing house, then another. One printing plant, then an entire city block. Soon, the name Maxwell is printed on the bottom of every contract and whispered in the corridors of Parliament. He becomes a member of Parliament, a champion of the people in public, and a ruthless negotiator in private. He saves factories, funds hospitals, shakes hands with prime ministers and presidents. He buys not just newspapers, but the right to decide what the country talks about in the morning. But no empire is built on charm alone. Behind closed doors, the deals grow stranger. Victor Maxwell starts to acquire more than businesses. He acquires information, the kind people will do anything to keep hidden. Rumors begin. Maxwell is not just a publisher, he is a courier, a broker, a man who might serve East and West at the same time, a man who always seems to know next week's scandal today. Is he a patriot, a traitor, a mastermind? No file ever settles the question. What is certain is this: Victor Maxwell understands leverage, and he understands that leverage often wears a human face. While he builds his empire, his family grows up in his shadow. Children raised on private jets and panic. On the estate, no one ever says no to Maxwell. And his youngest daughter, Lena, learns that better than anyone. Lena Maxwell is brilliant, restless, and obsessed with her father's approval. She watches him bend ministers with a phone call, rewrite markets with a headline.
People don't move for money, they move for fear or for love. If you can control those, you can control anything.
Lena learns quickly. At parties, she glides through rooms full of tycoons, arms dealers, and off-duty spies. She hears the jokes that are not jokes at all. She sees the glances that last a little too long. Maxwell buys bigger papers, bigger presses, entire networks. His debts tower alongside his ambitions, but the world only sees the front pages. He is both kingmaker and gambler. Every risk he takes, he covers with someone else's future. Until one night, on a black sea, the gambler falls overboard. A tycoon vanishes from his yacht. The next morning, his body is found, and the legend of Victor Maxwell begins to sink. In the wreckage of his companies, investigators find missing money, hollow promises, and betrayal of thousands of workers. In the wreckage of his family, Lena finds something else, a name that now means scandal, and a hunger that has nowhere to go. Disgraced at home, she crosses an ocean, new city, new parties. But power, she discovers, speaks the same language everywhere. At a fundraiser for a children's charity, she meets Julian Pierce, charming, elusive, a financier with no clear origin story and a private island he never stops talking about.
He says he admires her father. He says he wants to help her rebuild the Maxwell name. You know how to move people, Ms. Maxwell. I know how to move money. Together, we could move the world.
Julian gives Lena what she's been missing since the yacht went dark: a role, a purpose, a man who seems to need her as much as she needs him. Officially, Lena becomes his general manager. She organizes his houses, his planes, his guest lists. She becomes the gatekeeper between Julian Pierce and everyone who wants something from him. Unofficially, the job is more complicated. Julian's world is a web. Tech billionaires, politicians, retired intelligence chiefs, influencers, actors, princes. They come for investment, for introductions, for fun. Julian promises them all a place where no one is watching, but someone is always watching. In Julian's houses, cameras hide in the walls. In his planes, microphones hide in the leather seams. Every party, every whispered confession, every mistake is recorded, and those recordings are worth more than any stock portfolio. To keep the parties going, Julian and Lena need guests, lots of them. Some are already powerful, others are hungry enough to overlook the rules.
Listen, it's a chance to meet people who can change your life. Flights are covered. Accommodation is very comfortable. You'll be safe, trust me.
In polite society, they call it recruiting. In courts, one day they might call it something else. Across 50 episodes, Maxwell follows the rise and fall of this dynasty of power, from a shattered village to the halls of Parliament, from the front pages of national newspapers to secret server rooms full of compromising images, from the union halls where workers lose their pensions, to the private jets where the powerful lose their souls. We don't show everything, we don't need to. The real horror is in the imbalance, in how easily a handful of people can decide the fate of thousands. Our guide through this maze is not just Lena Maxwell, but also a journalist who refuses to look away. She digs into old files on Victor's mysterious death. She follows the money from stolen pensions to offshore trusts. She tracks flights, shell companies, missing stories that were killed before they were ever printed.
Every time I think I've found the bottom, there's another layer, another front company, another fixer. It's like someone designed the whole thing to be deniable.
Along the way, you'll meet survivors whose lives were twisted by these private empires, not as anonymous statistics, but as people with names, histories, and hopes. Their stories are about coercion, manipulation, and fear, about what happens when consent is drowned beneath power and money. You'll hear from the men who signed the documents, the officers who looked the other way, the staff who stayed quiet because they needed the paycheck, and the few who finally said, "Enough." In the end, Victor is dead, Julian is gone, and Lena stands alone in the dock. The court calls her a predator. Her lawyers call her a product of her upbringing. The truth might be both.
When your father teaches you that people are just pieces on a board, how surprised can anyone be when you start playing the game?
Maxwell is not a documentary. The names are changed, the locations are blurred, but the patterns are real. This is a story about how power really works. Not in speeches or elections, but in backrooms, private jets, and data vaults. It is about fathers and daughters, about loyalty and betrayal, about how far someone will go to never feel powerless again. If you've ever wondered what it costs to own the story everyone else reads, listen to the story they never wanted you to hear. Maxwell, every empire hides a secret.